folks. We're going to move on to our next guest today. Pretty boy Jamall Emmers is going to join us. He's 13-3 overall. He's coming off a win at LFA 36 this past Friday night out in Morongo, California. He is now riding a streak of 4 straight wins, and he joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. What's up, Jamall? How you doing? Jamall, you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, my man. Thanks for joining us here on MMA Junkie Radio. Not only are you on a 4-fight win streak, you got 2 wins that I really, really like seeing on somebody's resume. Chris Avila and Corey Sandhagen, 2 guys that are UFC veterans. Now, Avila's no longer there, but he was there. He had his fair share of fights, and then he's no longer there. But Sandhagen's the guy that just recently came in and had a nice debut. So if you got a win over him, I'm listening.
Yeah, those are two tough opponents. Like I was very happy that Corey got the call. Like I was like, wow, that was amazing to me. Like how he bounced back off a loss like that and got 2 straight wins and got the call. I was like, wow, that's amazing. So I was real happy for him.
Man, that says a lot about you, because this sport, a lot of the athletes can be selfish, okay, in the way they act or the way they talk. And I get it. It's an individual sport. It's not a team sport. You only have a certain amount of fights you can have before your career's over. And you put your body, through the ringer, you know what I mean, so that you can entertain, millions at home and thousands in the arena. So for you to say that shows a lot of class, you being happy over a guy that you fought and not having any sort of feelings like, hey, how come I didn't get there first?
Yeah, I mean, I don't look at it like that. Like, I mean, he got there before me. It is what it is. That's life. Like, sometimes, that's how it works out. Like, I mean, I don't feel no type of way about it. It is what it is.
Do you root for your former opponents in any way once you're done and everything's settled? Do you win or lose? Do you root for them?
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
Always.
I wasn't sure because
I like to see.
You're making it sound like it's automatic, but I don't think Damian Maia is going to root for Colby Covington in his next fight. So it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, I mean, but it's different when like we both show respect to each other. It's like we respected each other. It's not like, oh, he talked trash about me or like something like that, said something bad about my mom. Like we showed each other respect. So like I feel like hey, we pretty much blood brothers. We share blood and sweat in the cage. So win, lose, or draw, like I feel like I like to see people do good. Like it feels good to me to know other people doing good. So like, I mean, for him to get the call to the UFC, I was like, then he won. I was like, yeah, that's awesome.
Very cool. And who else got the call was Ricky Simone, who headlined the same event you were on. So your thoughts on that, and also have you gotten a call or do you anticipate a call after your most recent win, which is 4 in a row? It's also 6 out of your last 7, and in your last 14 fights, you're 12-2.
I mean that's good for him that he got the call. I heard he got it like right after they called him right after, and he got the call. So like I'm happy for him. Hopefully I get my call next, but if not, I'll just keep grinding.
This was a beautiful KO finish, and yeah, I know this happens a lot. I don't know if it happened to you. A lot of people, will ask about the decisions, their wins. Any win in MMA is great, but obviously it's not the same as the finishes. And you just got yourself a really, really highlight reel finish. How did that feel, and did it feel much different from the other wins where you've maybe decision fighters, here in this last win streak that you've been on?
I mean, it felt good to get the finish. Like for me, I think the reason why I got the finish because like I made up my mind like I was going to finish him. Like I read in like certain articles people wrote like, oh, I don't finish, I don't have power, stuff like that. So I was like, that fueled me a little bit. I was like, okay, I'm gonna finish this guy. And from what I understand, like heard he was like a great, like, well, a good stand-up fighter. Like, I heard he was like 23-1 in Muay Thai and stuff like that. So, like, I kind of had a chip on my shoulder a little bit.
Hmm.
So I was really, you know, looking for that finish so I can like shut a few people
You certainly did that,
up.
man. It was very, very artistic. I really, really enjoyed the highlights, folks. On MMA Junkie, we put out the highlights every week when LFA does have a fight card. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. There's really, really some great finishes on that fight card, and not including, of course, the controversial one that we talked about with Drew Chapman, I believe his name was. Notwithstanding that, check out the highlights video, and you'll see some really, really top-notch action at LFA 36. All right, goes. What do you have for Jamall Emmers?
Jamall, your weight class. I mean, there are killers in that weight class, and it survives the test of time. It's just constantly filled with a lot of top-level athletes. Do you ever feel like, that's where you're gonna end your career, or do you feel like you'll grow out of it, or even maybe go lower if the opportunity arose?
I I might grow out of it. I'm starting to see the older I get, I'm starting to like develop more. Like I guess I'm a man now. uh, so I'm starting to see like a lot of changes in my body. Um, I mean, I'm probably later in my career. I'll probably go up towards the tail end, but for now I'm like stuck at 45. Like I feel comfortable at 45.
um, the losses that you have are spread out. Okay, is there one common factor that you can point to from the three losses, or were they all just kind of separate situations?
Well, the last two were like I want. Well, not well. I'm gonna say this. I think they all separate situations. The fight with Thiago Moises, I took that fight on short notice, like 5 days before the fight. So I wasn't even training for that. That just the opportunity came and I jumped on it. The fight before that, I want to say I probably lost focus. Um, I think I was like on the 6 fight win streak or something like that, and I was like, oh, I figured like oh, I'm gonna just run through this guy. I don't really have to train too hard, but I mean that was a lesson learned. And then my first loss, that like that's controversial. A lot of people came up to me and said, "No, I thought you won that fight." But sometimes you leave it in the hands of the judges. That's how it goes. So I mean, it's just all learning experiences. You know.
Hey, 100%. Jamal, I'm looking. You train here at Pinnacle MMA, and that caught my attention because I associated it with names like Bobby Green and whatnot. But looking on your Instagram, it looks like you do some teaching there as well.
Yes, I'm the wrestling coach and jiu-jitsu coach.
That's awesome, man. And I see you're working with kids as well there.
Yes, yes.
Now, I've done a bit of coaching kids myself through different martial arts, and I found a lot of benefits, whether it was within the martial arts world or other parts of my life. Are you finding a lot of those benefits, or whether it's communicating or just articulating techniques to others?
Yeah, I find a lot of good benefits from teaching. It helps me. It sharpens my technique for sure. Um, Another benefit like I get to see like the kids grow from it. Like we have kids. I remember when they come in, they didn't talk, like too shy to talk, didn't say hi anything, and now they starting to come out their shell. So for me, like that makes me feel good to see a kid from day one to month 6, and they like a different kid. Like some kids come in there, they just got low self esteem, like they just body posture is just like all just like don't hurt me type, and some kids chubby. Like I see like the kids' bodies start to change, and I was like, oh, I'm doing my job. I'm doing some good now. Like I'm leaving a good impression on like the young kids. So I mean that I like that. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, man. The self confidence of those little things. That's definitely the unspoken, victories there. But then, if you stick, if they stick with it long enough, they'll start hitting things like a triangle choke, and then that'll really make you kind of reflect, like, whoa, how long have I been teaching you this? So that's awesome to hear, Jamall. Is there anybody else there at Pinnacle MMA as far as maybe who's teaching you and helping you, coaches, training partners, anybody that you can shout out that's been helping you learn on this journey so far?
Oh yeah, my head coach Jake Bainey, like he's the man. Like he put so much time and effort into me. It's just ridiculous. You like I love the guy so much. It's crazy. Like you think we was like related. Like the way he treats me like I'm his little brother. And like for him to do that, it's just amazing. Cause he didn't have to do it, but he did it. So like he's like my number one guy. Like I get as much knowledge as I can from, like, ask questions, like everything. Even if it's not about martial arts or MMA, like I just ask him life questions, and like I know I can get like a good answer from him. Like it's a guy I really look up to in the mind.
Our co-host for the day, Angelo Reyes, has a question for you. Go ahead, Angelo. What do you have for Jamall?
Man, I was just thinking more how close could how close are you to thinking you might want to go to a place like a Bellator or a UFC?
I'm pretty close. I think my next fight should be in one of those organizations.
I think
really
so,
believe
too.
so.
Who would you want to fight? See so then that's because this is where I
the
think
two-part?
no, it's a two-part because this right. I think with fighters nowadays, especially with the way media works, you guys, I know that. Okay, like as an example, help me out, guys. Who is it? Christina Williams that just beat Emily Ducati,
I believe so.
right in
yeah,
Bellator.
Yep.
And then she came off of that win with Heather Hardy, and they got a lot of hits.
Yeah.
And then she beats Emily Ducati, who just fought for the title. I get that Christina Williams' personality is very humble, and that's great, and that's going to be great for her in her entire career. And this is me by no means trying to tell her how to be. Mm-hmm. But would you agree, George goes, that if Christina Williams, after the Ducati fight, would have said something on mic like, look, man, what else do you guys want? I beat one of the best boxers out there right now. I beat the girl who just fought Elimale for the title, so she's like number 2 in the whole Bellator flyweight organization. Man, I want my shot.
Closed mouths don't get fed. You're right.
Yeah, so that's why I want our guy here to say to us, like, well, okay, you want to go to Bellator. Who do you want to fight?
Yeah, well, I don't know how much Jamall Emmers listens to our show, but we just had a 145er at Bellator, Taiwan Claxton, calling for a fight, looking to get booked just on our show last week. And speaking on this media stuff, I don't know what you think, Jamall, but I whether you agree with it or not, I believe fighting should be first, but I don't see why only the big fighters can use headlines. I think that this should be an equal playing field to get you where you want to be.
Yeah, that's how Mick.
Right.
I'll let Jamall answer. Sorry, but yeah, go ahead, Jamall.
Sorry.
Well, like coming from a fighter standpoint, it's like I understand why they say they'll fight in, like they'll say, oh, whoever the promotion want me to fight next, because like for me, I love fighting so much it doesn't matter. Like if they was to tell me, oh, fight at 70, I will fight at 70. Like I love fighting so much. So when fighters usually say that, it really don't matter who they fight. They genuinely don't care. Like the passion for fighting is so big. Well, if they was to say fight your mom in the closet for $20, all right. Well, I'm gonna get my mom's blood, I guess. like fighters, like if you're a fighter and you just love fighting, like it doesn't matter who it is. Like that's the thing. Like when fighters say like some fighters want big money fights. Like I understand that, but for the most part, like they just really love to fight. Like
So let me tell you something, Jamall. Let me jump in here for a second. What you're saying is true, but you're gonna hit a point where do you have kids already or no?
No, I don't have any kids.
All right. Well, you may one day, or your body's not gonna react like it once was, and then you're gonna look back and say, "Oh, did I prepare myself for the next facet?" And so we've recognized that years ago, and what we've noticed is the fighters that do try and kind of carve their own way, pave their own path, are the ones that tend to get the most popularity and the most pop, and those are the ones the promoters want to, you know, promote. And so what'll happen is, let's say the UFC calls you right now, and because you're so easygoing, they'll be like, okay, you're fighting in Perth, Australia. You're on Fight Pass, and your fight's at 7 a.m. because of the time difference, and you're like, oh, okay, I'm excited to be there, blah, blah, blah. You'll do it once, and maybe the next time they're sending you to Poland or whatever. But at some point, you're going to be like, fuck, I want to fight in Vegas, and I want to be on the main card of a pay-per-view, you know. And so the way you do that is you got to dictate your terms a little bit. Now, I'm not saying go out there and be fake, but if there really is some things that you want, start demanding them. There's really nothing wrong with it. No one will think you're a jerk for doing it. So that's just finding the balance between that. And so we always try and give the fighters that platform because, you know, like I say, you only have a certain amount of walks that you can make to the cage and back. It can all end right, you know, pretty quick. It can be a losing streak that takes you out, an injury, far worse than that. I won't mention it, but, you know, so many things. And so that's why we feel like, hey, man, when you're cracking, you're cracking. Right now, you're coming off a highlight reel KO. I'm hoping that you want to get to the UFC. I feel like you could almost do the same thing Curtis Millender did. I went in December. I sat in Costa Mesa, California, and I watched Curtis Millender take out his opponent. And he did a couple interviews with us, probably a few more, you know, on other websites. Next thing you know, he gets the call. He fights Thiago Alves, and then boom. I mean, look at that. The difference between Curtis Millender 4 months ago and Curtis Millender right now is twofold. You know what I mean? And the opportunities are out there, brother. So that's all. We don't mean to be pushy.
I understand.
Cool. Now listen, last question. We'll go out on good terms. What's the best burger out there? Burgers have been a big talk in our Facebook chat and on our show. And some people are saying In-N-Out. Other people are saying Whataburger. Some people are saying Five Guys. But how about you, man? What's your personal favorite?
Personal favorite. Okay, it's this burger place in Redlands, California called Eureka Burger, right? And it's like a gourmet burger spot. They got the best cowboy burger like ever. Like,
Cowboy burger.
Cowboy burger. What's a cowboy burger?
You got my attention.
So it's,
Like a Western bacon from Carl's or something like that? That like type of hickory sauce or tangy sauce?
all right. So how they do it, I don't know what kind of barbecue sauce or how they mix it, but they put barbecue sauce on there, fried onion rings, and bacon, and cheese, and it's like the best thing I ever tasted. Like I gotta say, out of all the burgers I ate in my life, that's probably number one.
You know, Goz and I, we have to go back to California for Easter. Maybe we'll stop on. It's on our way.
You're going to go to Eureka?
No, it's in Redlands. It's called Eureka Burger.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
Maybe if we look it up and we're into it, we might have to just taste this burger.
I like me a burger.
Yeah.
All right, my man. Hey, it's been great getting to know you. Really cool what you said about Corey. The work with your kids, admirable. I can't say enough about that. You made fans here today, man. At least from us four and all of our, hopefully all of our listeners. So thank you very much for sharing some time with us here on the show today.
So thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, Jamall. Take care. Have a nice day.